Before 2016, superhero movies were different. You know the deal. They all followed this unwritten playbook, especially the MCU. They were awesome, don't get me wrong, but they were serious business. You had gods, super soldiers, billionaires in robot suits, and they were all saving the world with a straight face, maybe cracking a one-liner here and there. There was this invisible wall between us on the couch and them on the screen, and you were never supposed to cross it. You just suspended your disbelief and accepted that this was their reality. And then Deadpool happened. He didn't just knock on the fourth wall, he didn't just lean on it, he took a flaming sledgehammer to that wall, smashed it into a million pieces, stuck his masked face through the hole, looked right at us and asked, "Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie?" And just like that, everything changed. Superhero movies were never going to be the same, and it's all because of how this one lunatic in a red suit decided to talk to us. The biggest thing, right off the bat, was the meta humor. And I don't mean a little wink and nod joke that only comic nerds would get. No, this movie's entire sense of humor was built on the fact that it knew it was a movie. The opening credits are the perfect example. There are no names, it's just starring God's perfect idiot, a hot chick, and a moody teen, all while the sappy music plays. It was the first sign that this film was going to be ripping on itself constantly. Throughout the whole thing, Deadpool is your personal narrator. He's complaining about the movies on budget, literally stopping the action to tell us, wow, this is a big studio movie, but they could only afford 2 X-Men. He makes a direct jab at Ryan Reynolds' time as Green Lantern, promising us the suit won't be green or animated. Think about that. The main character is making fun of the actor playing him for a role in a completely different comic book universe. It was nuts. It was like the movie assumed we were all in on the joke, that we were all fluent in the language of superhero cliches, and it trusted us to keep up. And that's the other huge thing. He completely changed the relationship between the hero and the audience. Usually we're just watching from our couch, right? We're observers. With Deadpool, you weren't just an observer. You were his buddy. He was pulling you in, making you his co-conspirator. When he turns to the camera to explain his master plan, or to just complain about how cheesy something is, it feels like he's sitting right there with you, making smart-ass comments about the movie you're both watching. It creates this wild connection that you just don't get with Captain America or Thor. He's not some perfect hero on a pedestal, he's this flawed, hilarious jackass who made you part of his crew. On top of that, by doing all this, he was basically taking the superhero movie rulebook and shredding it right in front of us. He was deconstructing the whole genre. Every trope you've ever seen, he called it out. The tragic origin story, he narrates his with total sarcasm, completely killing the sad, dramatic vibe. The classic 3-point superhero landing, he does one and then immediately complains that it's terrible for your knees. It's brilliant, because we've all seen heroes do that 100 times and never thought about it. He was voicing what we were all thinking. This made the movie work for everybody. If you're a huge comic book fan, you're laughing because you recognize all the stuff he's making fun of. If you're just there for a good time and don't know a thing about comics, he's basically your tour guide, pointing out all the ridiculous parts so you can laugh along too. He made the genre feel less like a private club and more like a party everyone was invited to. Now, we gotta talk about the R rating. The only reason he could get away with the insane violence and the nonstop swearing is because his self-awareness justified it. The whole movie feels like a kid who knows his parents aren't home and is just going wild. Because he knows he's a fictional character, the over-the-top gore becomes part of the joke. It's a statement, a giant middle finger to the clean, family-friendly vibe of almost every other superhero flick. And when it made an absolute boatload of money, every studio in Hollywood snapped to attention. They realized, oh, so people will show up for an R-rated comic book movie. There is a direct line from Deadpool's success to us getting movies like Logan. You don't get that dark, brutal, and emotional farewell to Wolverine without Deadpool proving there's an audience for it first. You probably don't get a movie as bleak and messed up as Joker either. He kicked the door open and showed that you could take risks and tell different kinds of stories within this genre. Now look, I know some of you are probably thinking, well actually She-Hulk broke the fourth wall first in the comics. And you're right, she did. Characters have been doing it for years in the pages of Marvel and DC. But it was always a niche thing, a quirky character trait. What Deadpool did was take that gimmick and make it the central, defining feature of a massive blockbuster movie. He's the one who made it mainstream. Sure, we see other shows doing it now, like She-Hulk on Disney+, but her breaks are way more controlled. She gives you a little aside, a comment on her life. Deadpool's fourth wall breaks are pure uncut anarchy. It's not a feature of his character, it is his character. But here's the thing that really gets me, the part that goes deeper than just the chimichanga jokes. His awareness, his constant talking to us, it isn't just for laughs. It's actually kind of sad. Think about it. The reason he can joke about the script in the studio is because he knows on a fundamental level that his entire existence is fake. He knows he's a character in a story being controlled by some writer at a keyboard. He's trapped. His humor is a coping mechanism. He's screaming into the void, and the only way he can deal with the absolute existential horror of knowing none of his pain or love is technically real is to laugh at it. He's not just the merc with a mouth, he's the only sane man in an asylum, fully aware that the walls are made of paper and the doctors are just us, watching him for our own entertainment. So yeah, Deadpool changed everything. He turned the superhero movie on its head and proved you could be violent, crude, and self-aware and still be a massive hit. He tore down that invisible wall and didn't just invite us in, he made us part of the show. And in doing so, he gave the whole genre a jolt of energy it desperately needed.